The top 10 worst computer viruses in history. Once a laughing matter, computer viruses are now a damaging and costly plague on our internet-connected world. More than 350,000 new pieces of malware are discovered every day, with an annual cost of over $55 billion. But bear in mind that these malicious programs are just the tip of the iceberg. With 127 million new malware apps attacking consumers and businesses each year, the viruses are just the biggest fish in an endless cybercrime sea. Sasser, $500 million. The Sasser worm was written by a 17-year-old German computer science student named Sven Jaskin. He was arrested at the age of 18 in 2004 after a $250,000 bounty was posted for the computer virus creator. A friend of Jaskin's tipped authorities that the youth had penned not only the Sasser worm but also the damaging Netsky AC attack. Jaskin was given a suspended sentence after it was found he was a minor when he wrote the malware. The Sasser worm crashed millions of PCs, and though some reports put damages at $18 billion, the relatively low infection rate suggests a more likely cost of $500 million. 9. CryptoLocker, $665 million. Thankfully, ransomware attacks like the 2013 CryptoLocker virus have dipped since their 2017 peak. This malware attacked upwards of 250,000 machines by encrypting their files. It displayed a red ransom note informing users that your important files encryption produced on this computer. A payment window accompanied the note. The virus creators used a worm called the Game Over Zeus botnet to make and send copies of the CryptoLocker virus. According to a report by security firm Sophos, the average ransomware attack costs a business $133,000. If we estimate that CryptoLocker hit 5,000 companies, that would put its total cost at $665 million. Where will cybersecurity go next? See our guide, The Future of Cybersecurity. 8. Slammer, $1.2 billion. The SQL Slammer worm cost an estimated $750 million across 200,000 computer users in 2003. This computer virus randomly selected IP addresses, exploiting vulnerabilities and sending itself onto other machines. It used these victim machines to launch a DDoS attack on several internet hosts, significantly slowing internet traffic. The Slammer worm hit banks in the US and Canada especially hard, taking ATMs offline in many locations. Customers of Toronto's Imperial Bank of Commerce found themselves unable to access funds. The attack reared its ugly head again in 2016, launching from IP addresses in Ukraine, China, and Mexico. 7. Code Red, $2.4 billion. First observed in 2001, the Code Red computer virus was yet another worm that penetrated 975,000 hosts. It displayed the words "hacked by Chinese" across infected web pages, and it ran entirely in each machine's memory. In most cases it left no trace in hard drives or other storage. Financial costs are pegged at $2.4 billion. The virus attacked websites of infected computers and delivered a distributed denial-of-service attack on the U.S. White House's website. In fact, the White House had to change its IP address to defend against Code Red. Can your printer get a virus? See our cool infographic, The State of Printer Security. 6. Zeus, $3 billion. The Zeus computer virus is an online theft tool that hit the web in 2007. A white paper by Unisys 3 years later estimated that it was behind 44% of all banking malware attacks. By then, it had breached 88% of all Fortune 500 companies, 2,500 organizations total, and 76,000 computers in 196 countries. The Zeus botnet was a group of programs that worked together to take over machines for a remote bot master. It originated in Eastern Europe and was used to transfer money to secret bank accounts. More than 100 members of the crime ring behind the virus, mostly in the US, were arrested in 2010. It's not as prominent today, but some of the virus source code lives on in newer botnet viruses and worms. Zeus caused documented damage of $100 million. But the real cost in terms of lost productivity, removal, and undocumented theft is undoubtedly much higher. A $3 billion estimate, adjusted for inflation, puts this virus at a cost of $3.7 billion in today's dollars. 5. WannaCry, $4 billion. The 2017 WannaCry computer virus is ransomware, a virus that takes over your computer and holds them hostage. The WannaCry ransomware ripped through computers in 150 countries, causing massive productivity losses as businesses, hospitals, and government organizations that didn't pay were forced to rebuild systems from scratch. The malware raged like wildfire through 200,000 computers worldwide. It stopped when a 22-year-old security researcher in the UK found a way to turn it off. Computers with out-of-date operating systems were hit especially hard. That's why security experts always recommend updating your systems frequently. Ransomware strikes again. In September 2020, one of the potentially largest computer virus attacks in medical history hit Universal Health Services. The U.S. hospital chain, which has more than 400 locations, was reportedly struck by damaging ransomware. The attack forced the cancellation of surgeries and made healthcare workers switch to paper records. 4. I Love You, $15 billion. The year 2000's I Love You virus worked by sending a bogus love letter that looked like a harmless text file. Like Midoom, this attacker sent copies of itself to every email address in the infected machine's contact list. Shortly after its May 4 release, it had spread to more than 10 million PCs. The virus was created by a college student in the Philippines named Juanel de Guzman. Lacking funds, he wrote the virus to steal passwords so he could log into online services he wanted to use for free. He reportedly had no idea how far his creation would spread. This virus is also known as Love Letter. Need to up your remote work security game before there's another entry on the list of most deadly computer viruses? See our guide, How to Work Remotely and Securely. 3. Klez, $19.8 billion. Klez is a close third on the list of the worst computer viruses ever created. With nearly $20 billion in estimated damages, it infected about 7.2% of all computers in 2001, or 7 million PCs. The Klez worm sent fake emails, spoofed recognized senders and, among other things, attempted to deactivate other viruses. As with other viruses and worms, Klez was released in several variants. It infected files, copied itself, and spread throughout each victim's network. It hung around for years, with each version more destructive than the last. Windows has come a long way since most of the computer viruses on this list hit the web. Thankfully, built-in protection with Microsoft Defender is always on the watch. 2. Sobig, $30 billion. The 2003 Sobig computer virus is actually another worm. It is second only to the Midoom virus in its scope. The $30 billion figure is a worldwide total, including Canada, the UK, the US, mainland Europe, and Asia. Several versions of the worm were released in quick succession, named Sobig.A through Sobig.F, with Sobig.F being the most damaging. This cybercriminal program masqueraded as legitimate computer software attached to emails. It disrupted ticketing at Air Canada and interfered with countless other businesses. Despite its widespread damage, the creator of the successful bug was never caught. Before we unveil our number one virus, here are a few honorable mentions. Seercom, a computer worm from 2001 that used counterfeit emails with the subject line, "I send you this file in order to have your advice." Explorizip, this worm used fake emails to spread to every machine on thousands of local networks. Melissa, the most dangerous computer virus in 1999. Melissa sent copies of itself that looked like NSFW pics. The US FBI estimated cleanup and repair costs at $80 million. Flashback, a Mac-only virus, Flashback infected over 600,000 Macs in 2012 and even infected Apple's home base in Cupertino, California in 2020. There's now more malware on Macs than on PCs. Conficker, this 2009 virus still infects many legacy systems and could do significant damage if it ever activates. Stuxnet, this worm is reported to have destroyed Iranian nuclear centrifuges by sending damaging instructions. Midoom, $38 billion. The worst computer virus outbreak in history, Midoom caused estimated damage of $38 billion in 2004, but its inflation-adjusted cost is actually $52.2 billion. Also known as Novarg, this malware is technically a worm, spread by mass emailing. At one point, the Midoom virus was responsible for 25% of all emails sent. Midoom scraped addresses from infected machines, then sent copies of itself to those addresses. It also roped those infected machines into a web of computers called a botnet that performed distributed denial-of-service attacks. These attacks were intended to shut down a target website or server. Midoom is still around today, generating 1% of all phishing emails. That's no small feat considering the 3.4 billion phishing emails sent each day. By that figure, Medium has taken on a life of its own, infecting enough poorly protected machines to send 1.2 billion copies of itself per year, 16 years after its creation. Though a $250,000 reward was offered, the developer of this dangerous computer worm was never caught. Wondering what makes the world's most secure computers so safe? See the Tech at Work guide, upgrade to the world's most secure and manageable PC.